Kurma Avatara. My daughter Nitya Venkatraman will now present the story of Kurma Avatara, the second incarnation of Lord Vishnu. There are 10 incarnations of Vishnu, and in the earlier episodes we have covered the introduction part and the first incarnation. Listen now to the story of the second incarnation.
Om Namo Narayanaya. Kurma Avatar. It's an interesting story. This is a story where the Lord manifests himself as, guess what? A tortoise. How did this come about? The gods, known as the Devas, and the demons, known as Asuras, were actually cousins, but they were at war very often. Though we say Devas and Asuras, the Devas actually is just a replication or representation of the good in life, and the Asuras is a representation of the evil. As always, there is war between these two forces. Indra is the king of the Devas. Now there was once a saint by the name Durvasa. Though a great saint, he had a problem. He was extremely short-tempered by nature and was known to give a curse the moment he gets offended. The curse of great saints always come true because they are backed by years of perseverance, by years of tapas. Once this saint Durvasa offered a garland of beautiful flowers to Indra, the king of the Devas. Now, as anger or short temper was Durvasa's problem, pride was Indra's problem. Indra proudly passed it on to his elephants, who carelessly trampled it. Saint Durvasa was enraged because Indra had not taken his gift nicely. Saint Durvasa cursed Indra, and as a result of this curse, all the Devas became very, very weak. The Asuras and the Devas were at loggerheads, so day by day the tension between the Devas and Asuras grew, and the Devas were losing their strength due to the curse that was given to them by Saint Durvasa. As a result of that, they were always on the verge of defeat in the fight against the Asuras. In other words, good things became weak and bad things were on the rise. Now that's not a nice situation to be in. So the Devas worshipped Lord Brahma and asked for his help. Brahma, the creator, thought for a while and then said, Lord Vishnu is the one who preserves the creation. Let's take refuge in him. As we know, Lord Vishnu incarnates whenever Adharma or the evil rises. He himself said in the Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Lord Vishnu said to the Devas, to defeat the Asuras, you will have to strive very, very hard and obtain Amrit, the nectar of immortality. How to get it? Asked the Devas. Lord Vishnu said, immortality is not so easy. You have to do a lot of work. Can you do what it takes? The Devas said, yes, of course. So Lord Vishnu said, there's an ocean of milk. Churn this milky ocean by adding some plants and herbs into it. Use the Mandara mountain as a churning stick and Vasuki, the king of serpents, as the rope. This was a grand project, churning of the Milky Ocean. The question obviously arose, like every project does, how to go about it. So how can the Devas move the big Mount Mandara? Vishnu said, take the help of the Asuras and use them to achieve your end. But do not desire any of the things that may come out of the ocean. Also, do not become angry if any of these things are forcibly taken away by Asuras. Yes, to achieve immortality, there are many things that are required to be done by good people. You cannot run away from hard work. You have to make friendship and peace with everyone, even if they are your enemies, to achieve a noble end. You should not give way to petty desires. You should not get carried away by small, mean successes that may come out of your endeavor. And yes, you should never ever lose your temper or become angry if someone decides to take credit for what you have done. These are the hallmarks of good people. The Devas understood, but then they had a question. What about the nectar? If, as you say, the Asuras take it away from us, then the whole point is lost. Lord Vishnu assured them that he would arrange to see that the Asuras do not get the nectar. Convinced with this assurance from the Lord himself, the Devas went back and struck a deal with the Asuras. It was agreed that the Amrit would be equally shared between the Devas and the Asuras, and hence project churning of the Milky Ocean was all set to begin. But it was not an easy task. The uprooting of Mount Mandara and carrying it to the Milky Ocean was difficult. They got tired. Indra prayed to Lord Vishnu seeking his help. Vishnu came to help the Devas to bring Mandara to the Milky Ocean. When the mountain was placed in the ocean, Vasuki, the king of serpents, came to the scene to play his role. Lord Vishnu said to Vasuki, play your role and you shall receive your share of nectar. The rough surface of Mount Mandara will not hurt you at all. That's what happens with people who pitch in for help. They get assured that they will come to no harm. The reassured Vasuki rounded itself around the mountain. With a lot of enthusiasm, the Devas and Asuras got ready to churn the ocean. But their joy soon turned into despair as the heavy Mount Mandara, which had no support at the bottom, started to sink in the ocean. Lifting it out was a great problem. The Devas again went back to Lord Vishnu for help, and Vishnu said, do not worry. I'll take a form of a tortoise and hold the mountain on my back until the ocean is fully churned and nectar is obtained. The Lord comes to everyone's help. He literally holds your problems on his back without your being aware of it and waits till you finish your project. Vishnu became a tortoise and held the mountain on his back. Tortoise means Kurma in Sanskrit, and that is why this avatar is known as the Kurma Avatar. Another big incident happened. Indra asked the Asuras to stay on the tail side of the Vasuki while churning the ocean. But the Asuras suspected foul play in this and argued that they would be on the head side. This is what actually Indra wanted, so he agreed. The Asuras soon realized that it was not a right decision because the serpent Vasuki was emitting poison which was weakening them. They tightened the grip on Vasuki in such a way, and the serpent emitted a deadly poison called the Hala Hala. Its poisonous fumes choked everyone. Frightened at this, a delegation of the Devas ran to Lord Shiva at Mount Kailash for help. "O Lord, help us," they cried. "There is a poisonous gas which is being emitted, which is choking the entire world." Shiva, the Almighty God, immediately obliged. He walked to the shores of the ocean, took that poison and swallowed it. His consort Parvati got worried. Shiva might be the Lord of the universe, but his wife still worried for his safety. So quickly she tried to stop him from drinking by holding her hand on Shiva's neck. With that touch, the poison remained in the Lord's neck. And that is why Lord Shiva is known as Neelkant, the person with a blue throat. The churning continued. As the churning was continued, 14 magnificent treasures emerged from the ocean, but the Amrit was nowhere in sight. The Devas and Asuras were soon losing their patience. And finally, from the ocean bed emerged Lakshmi, Goddess Lakshmi, resplendent, beautiful and glowing. She walked up to Lord Vishnu and put a garland of flowers around his neck, taking him to be her husband. It was a magnificent moment. The Devas and Asuras continued churning the ocean, and then Dhanvantari arrived with a pot of the well sought after nectar in his hand. Now, seeing the nectar, the Asuras became greedy and selfish. They ran towards Dhanvantari and grabbed the pot of nectar from him. They started quarreling amongst themselves for taking possession of the pot of nectar. The Devas watched this in dismay. But remember, Lord Vishnu told them that they should not quarrel whatever comes out of the ocean. So they made no move. Vishnu became very pleased with the Devas. He told the Devas, "Don't be dejected. The greed of nectar has already divided the Asuras, and now I shall charm them with my powers and get you the nectar." The Asuras were too busy fighting amongst themselves when Vishnu disguised himself as a beautiful damsel, an Apsara named Mohini, and approached the Asuras. The fighting Asuras now forgot about the nectar, and as they were mesmerized by her beauty, they started crowding around her. "Who are you, beautiful lady?" asked the king of the Asuras. Mohini smiled and replied in a melodious voice, "I am Mohini, and I have come to distribute this Amrit amongst all of you." "We agree. Please distribute this to us through your wonderful hands," said the Asura king. "Then give that pot to me," said Mohini. The Asuras were so infatuated that they entrusted the entire pot of nectar to her. They were prepared to do anything that she said. Now Vishnu, in the form of Mohini, said to them, "You must do as I ask you to do." Not knowing who she really was, they agreed to her demand. She then instructed, "Go ahead, take a bath and assemble in a row. The Asuras have to be in one row and the Devas in the other row." They had all assembled when Mohini began by serving nectar first to the Devas. Seeing this, the Asuras thought, "No, let's not fight with Mohini. She would be displeased unnecessarily if we object to it." Remember, they were an infatuated lot. Mohini kept the Asuras under her spell, and she finished the pot of nectar by distributing the entire nectar to the Devas. The Devas were filled with energy, and the curse of Saint Durvasa was lifted. Mohini then assumed her original form, the form of Lord Vishnu. The Asura's spell were broken, and they were surprised and shocked to see this, and realized that they have been deceived by Mohini, and there was no nectar left for them. After finishing his task, Lord Vishnu flew away on his vehicle Garuda. The furious Asuras declared war with the Devas. The Deva-Asura war on the seashore was a terrible one, but the Devas had drank nectar of immortality, and they fought with the Asuras and drove them away. Thus, in this Avatara, Lord Vishnu revived the lost glory of those who were gentle and sought refuge in him, and punished those who were aggressive and had no faith in him. That's the story of Kurma Avatara.
You just heard the beautiful story of the churning of the Milky Ocean, so nicely presented by Nithya Venkatraman. The message that the story communicates is that determination is one of the key words for success. Many a time we slip from our objective or the achievement of our goal, sometimes fearing the challenges which are on the way, and sometimes lured by some intermediary benefits that we get. The Devas did not swerve from their determination in getting the nectar of immortality, the Amrit. In fact, many very charming things came from the churning of the Milky Ocean, like the Kalpaka Vriksha, the wish-fulfilling tree, the Kamadhenu, or the wish-fulfilling cow, and wish-fulfilling germ, Chintamani, a seven-headed flying horse called Uchchaisravas, a six-tusked elephant called as Airavata, a conch by the name of Panchajanya, and a beautiful damsel by the name of Rambha, the goddess Lakshmi, moon god Chandra, so many other things like that which came, and they were all taken by various people. But the gods, the Devas, never swerved from their main objective of getting the nectar. In fact, they were not afraid when this halahala poison came, and they were not afraid of that challenge. This has been depicted beautifully by one Sanskrit poet in the form of a shloka. The shloka goes like this: Ratnair maharhair tutushur na devaha na bhejire bhima vishena bhitim sudam vinana prayur viramam nanischita artat viramanti dhiraha. The word dhira in Sanskrit, it can't be so easily translated into English, but generally we can say that the word dhira means brave. So, who is a brave person? Of course, there are a number of brave persons. The people in the army are all brave and all that we can say. But mainly, the person who can be called as brave is the person who is firm in his determination to achieve the objective or the goal on which he was setting in, without being disturbed by the challenges which come in the way, or being lured by any such things like what the Devas got from out of the churning of the Milky Ocean. So this is the message that this story conveys. Thank you.